Hey everyone, my name is Denis Kalyshkin. I'm the co-founder of Ask VC. And today we're having a guest, Max. Hi, Max.
Hey,
Yeah. And uh, everyone now is interested about applications of LLMs for various things, building products, etc. And we had a pretty interesting conversation privately with Max about how he employs LLM in his businesses, and decided that it would be a very interesting topic to discuss on the wider audience. So this is why we decided to write to record this podcast. But before we start, Max, could you introduce yourself?
sure. So first of all, my name is Maxim Dubovitsky, and I'm the founder of a small startup that is creating AI-related applications and custom GPTs, which is our focus. We've had some success in several fields right away, and I believe I can share some of that, you know, as this is going. But basically, we're focusing on the GPT Store, which is the marketplace suggested by OpenAI. They recently announced it 2 years ago, and we've started there. We've had the first and the major diagramming GPTs. Then we built out the website GPT and some other ones. We're trying to expand even more. Um, it's just a few people, with two of us being the co-founders, one being CTO Kirill Dubovitsky, my brother, and me myself. But we also have several people that are doing the development as well. What I wanted to share is how this is working out. Why are we able to tap into several pretty noticeable industries with the big companies, how the big companies are noticing us. And, I can share some of that.
Paul, do you understand correctly that you have several AI products which cover various applications, right?
Yeah, correct. So, well, first of all, for diagramming, I believe we still have the most conversations on the GPT store where we have two major GPTs out there, which are getting a lot of attention. We've been invited to OpenAI office when they introduced some of the changes to the store. They wanted to share, us to share some feedback. But the most interesting part that we discussed, I believe, is that how teams like us are able to enter the market with bigger players. Like honestly, we don't have any funding right now. Maybe at some point we will, but we don't have any right
By the
now.
way, just curious, how long did it take it, and how many people were working on it to bring this product live, and how long it have been on the market? And you say that you're category leader in your niche. Like just I know many stories how like in 6 months people get into a million in ARR. So and everyone is saying like, yeah, now it's that accelerated. So tell us like
Um,
how it happened with you guys.
so with several products such as diagramming and websites, first of all, the rough idea of the numbers is the same as you named, which is 1 million ARR. I would say that it was pretty rapid, and we're also speaking of several months into that. The problem with AI products is that if it goes viral, then you're spot on. The market is changing super fast, especially like with the GPT store introduced. They had several players over there. We participated in the first hackathon, and it's not just us, it's the market developing super fast, and people are looking for certain things. So previously, people were looking for software that had diagramming, but for example, for quite some time, the top diagramming apps that allowed, this reallocation of, uh, visuals, they had absolutely zero capability of doing this using AI. So we were one of the first ones who started this. And once you have that feature, you're ahead of time. Like you're ahead of the bigger players in the field, so you can use that to your advantage, sort of. The same goes with the websites. The website building, especially the AI website building, was super popular for quite some years, like several years. And the idea is by itself, it is relatively simple. It is hard when you're trying to implement this in the cloud, when you're trying to implement this with a builder, et cetera, et cetera. That's where the complexity jumps in, but still with the AI coding tools, with the fact that you can ask for some special formatting, et cetera, and it will change it within minutes. The development speeds up super fast. So you can basically create a product which is comparable to the bigger players' product, and you can do that within months. So that's
Okay.
how it worked for
So
us.
it took you 1 month to develop those products, and how many people were working on that, and how senior were the people? Just to give an idea, how sophisticated or simple it became right now.
So those are great questions. I would say that, look, first of all, it's not a month. I was mentioning it was months. I don't recall the exact time spent on that product because we've been juggling the products. So we have the presentations generation, we have the website generation, we have and I'm not sure how much time did that specific product, take. I'm just, framing it in months. But as for the number of people, I would estimate it to be 4 people working on, for example, the websites. Uh, the seniority is
Are
very
they working
different.
full time or part-time?
Those are full-time people. So they were working full-time. I'm not saying they are full-time employers, if that makes sense. But for example, the seniority Kirill is super senior guy. Like he's the one who is the architect of how things work technically, but he's not the one who devotes 100% of his time to those products. The way it works, there are people that implement it, but for the seniority of people, I feel like it's being overly um, over evaluated. Like the value given to the seniority of people um, is something I disagree with. So I'm not sure that someone has to be super senior. There are other more important attributes that I'm looking for when I'm hiring someone. So this could be a very separate topic we can discuss, like how to hire someone that is valuable. But I'm looking for someone who is predictable in terms of, you know, I really hate surprises, especially like obviously if you're dealing with people, you always get into that, but I
Why
like
you're working with LLMs?
true. So the thing is that I'm looking for a good response from the people. So for example, the first thing that I'm testing when I'm talking to that person, I'm giving him a bunch of information and then several questions closer to the end of my first message. And that first interaction tells me a lot about the person. So if he's not responding to those questions, or he's responding partially, or he's like completely drifting away from the topic, that's a no-no. If he's overly salesy, that's a no-no thing. So like if he responds like a normal person would, that kind of, show it tells a lot about the person. So he's most likely to get hired.
Yeah, let me rephrase. What I mean is that, like probably other entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs are listening to this video, and they assess like how big should be the team, how experienced should be the people that they hire. If they, for example, want to develop some niche solution in the area of their expertise, because I've met many people who have deep
Mhm.
domain expertise but don't have, like, for example, understanding in how the IT products are developed. So and I also hear a lot about the democratization of the development and democratization of AI usage for a spectrum of solutions. So just give us an idea, like how it will be for people like them, how it will be like easy or sophisticated to build those products. Do they need to hire like a very senior guy or girl from big tech to do that, or like 2 or 3 year developer with moderate experience, a little experience in LLM application development could also be a fit here. Just give us an idea.
Sure, I'll give some idea, and we'll go back to the topic, mostly because the hiring of people is something that is a huge topic by itself. Like for real, I have a lot to say about that. But for the seniority of people, I would say look for other attributes. Like the person has to be familiar with that. But nowadays, I'm looking mostly at, is he capable of working with LLMs and asking questions the appropriate way? And if he's smart enough and like understands what the input it gives, with some guidance from a more senior person, which there has to be some sort of a co-founder or someone with like 10-year experience that you trust. Just 15 minutes of his time will resolve so much issues for the future, while the person coding it can be a much less senior person compared to that person. So I would say a 1 year with education, like, so higher education in that field is an interesting thing. I'm trying to, have someone who actually has some formal education in the field, and maybe 0 to 1 year experience is perfect for a cheap way to implement things, I would say.
And also, probably we can put a price tag on, like, how much could it cost, like, to develop. You told that you had two products which like in months became category leaders, generating up to $1 million in annual revenue, right?
Mhm.
So just curious, like how much it could potentially cost you. Like, does it like tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars? I
I would
understand the
say out.
product could be sophisticated, and you of course like
Mhm.
evolve and develop them. But like, what's the amount people should keep in mind when they kick this off?
I would say very much depends on the how difficult the product is. So, for example, recently we almost threw out. We've spent so much time developing the product, but basically we threw it out. Like it's not working right now. We developed the whole, you know, cascade of like the servers controlling and renting the GPUs on the marketplace, and launching like so that it will scale up easily, etc., etc. Now you have the front end, so it's a very complex thing. Something like that would cost $10,000 roughly, like if you just throw a price tag for it. Um, and a lot of
Yeah,
my
for
time.
diagramming product, for example, like what would be like.
So diagramming was a tough one because it has the integration with Miro, and that took a lot of time. We tweaked, I would say, several tens of thousands of dollars. That would be the price tag. Still, for a product like that, that's not
Like
much.
several thousand, like $50,000 for the product that like that, and the result you get, it's very generous, I would say, to be
Um,
honest.
Yeah, I can't really say that's a lot. I wish I would be bringing more, you know, like we're giving most of it for free. So the absolute majority of users are using it for free right now, which has a reason to that. But back to the sort of topic that I wanted to share is that the right now the software development, as you said, is democratized to the way where smaller teams are able to compete with huge ones. So one of my favorite ones is the Base 44. You probably heard that Wix bought, that startup. So it was a really small startup, like compared to Wix, with all of their software developers. Like this is I can't really compare their sizes. It's like, I like your background here. If we compare like, the Earth to the black hole, like that's the size difference.
Like black holes could be really small, like this one, but they
I
were very
mean, but
massive.
like I'm saying the ones
So,
that, the galaxies are formed around. So you know the sizes of those, right? Like they are absolutely enormous that like, you can't really compare those two. Technically, those are celestial bodies. We can talk about that at some point. Anyways, the idea is that the startups like us are able to enter the field with enormous players, get some traction, get some real users. Like we have tens of thousands of users building websites using our, software. We're actually entering like a very hard to enter field and we're somewhat successful in it. I'm not saying like at the volumes of Wix, but still noticeable.
that's actually interesting because on one hand, we hear about like the democratization of the development, and you said like it could cost you like tens of thousands of dollars. And on the other hand, even in the highly competitive fields like building websites, you say you could grasp like pretty significant attention, and this opens up opportunities, especially like for young entrepreneur or first time entrepreneur with like, experience working in companies to start earning money, probably like not the biggest money but still earning money and earning money fast and building businesses and building products and grasping their niche. I'm very big evangelist of vertical SaaS approach, or not vertical SaaS is a separate topic, micro SaaS approach, where you like a team of one could build something very niche and like get business, which
Yeah, I agree. So
get
to follow up on your topic you're starting basically is that this is the time for the smaller startups to get their niche traffic. There is a bunch of problems there. For example, Google is very aggressive right now on they don't like new websites, they don't like new traffic, etc., etc. But other than that, I think this is the time for those entrepreneurs. I feel that right now it is so much easier to start a service and start selling it, etc., etc., that I feel that the whole world will be pivoting towards that more. And, for example, right now we have a project which we recently started, which is called roas.dog, which is there is a special term for advertising called return on the ad spend, ROAS. So roas.dog is something we're building. You can check it out at some point. But basically, a service like that, a couple of years ago, you could barely build something like that because basically imagine you have very sophisticated SQL requests pulling data from the account, then you need to analyze it, then you need even building those SQL requests would take a huge amount of time, like even planning them out. We've done everything within several weeks, and the I've tested it with my friends right now. So the major goal of this service is if you have a Google Ads account, uh, it is capable of pulling the audit for that and giving you weekly insights like how things are going, should you look into that? Does this make sense? And the reason for that service is that Google and Google Ads themselves, they're not interested in you spending money too effectively. So you need to control them. Like it seems a little bit weird, but still that's the case. And we're basically providing the service that does this. The problem is that it's really hard for you as a manager to control everything, to check for every single thing while things are going. And I tested it with some of my friends that are in the space that have access to the Google Ads accounts. Like, let's see if you're good enough. And surprisingly, like every account we audited, it found something super useful. And he's like, huh, really? Like that is really, like, how did I not see that? So a small service, a very strong backend, weeks of development, and you can go and sell it basically. So it's more about marketing right now rather than anything else. Marketing
To be
and
honest,
and
it
and,
has
and
always been, but
that's
just
true.
yeah, but just it became even more obvious. And this is actually the learning for those technical founders who listen to us because they believe like building a shiny product is a great idea, and if you build it good enough, people will come and buy. And speaking of the marketing, I have a few questions to you. So first of all, about hallucinations for your product, because you say that you do your product does audit, so and shows some results. But we all know that
Mhm.
LLMs hallucinate, and how critical is that, and how you overcome it in your product? Because like if people typically scare like when they trust money on you, and sometimes they will be trusting big budgets like millions of dollars if you're successful enough. So just curious, like how you overcome this barrier and how really it was a problem from the
Mhm.
technical point of view.
So I believe that I've seen them hallucinate, but the recent LLMs, they're pretty good. I can't really say that they hallucinate a lot. So, for example, I had a problem when I was lazy enough to copy over, my credit card information. So I just took a photo of, the card and then copy pasted it, from Gemini, and it missed. So like it had several zeros in the card, and it made less zeros than it was supposed to. I was like, seriously, like that still does happen. So it does happen. They do mess up sometimes. The problem is like when you're doing the audit, there is some background thought. Like it gives you the audit for you to have a look at it. Like any person, can make a mistake. Those like, LLMs are better. Like uh, I would say that as a human, I will make way more mistakes. And the key idea of the service of roas.dog is that it actually overlooks the what humans have done and finds out the problems that humans have caused. And then, like it actually finds every time it finds it. Sometimes like I've seen some of the reports, they're interesting because it does mess up sometimes. And it's kind of funny. So for example, one of the reports, it was like, you're targeting not like the area of interest instead of focusing just on the area of of the location of the user, and that is why your campaigns are failing, and here's the data. And then it shows the data, and the data clearly shows like the opposite picture. And then like following the report, it's like, I see like I messed up. It seems like it's quite the opposite, and like you are doing the right thing. Sorry for me saying that, you messed up. So that was just something funny to see. But like the thinking capabilities right now in the LLMs, they allow to for some of that to get fixed. But if you're pushing, for immediate generation of the report, it might mess up. But like it later on sees the problem when it kind of explains you what the problem is, finds the proof for you to see the proof, it's self-corrected, so
And what my question also was like, do you need some additional modules in your product which account for potential hallucination and learning on how to avoid them in the future?
Mhm.
Do you
We're
specifically treat?
so for our like we're a startup, right? Of course we don't.
Okay.
So like if the way we're approaching things, it's like the product should be covering 90% of the functionality. It shouldn't cover every single issue that might, appear, or there might be like some minor issues. I do understand that. It does happen to us all the time. We fix them, but we're not building the. I feel like some products, as you mentioned, some of the developers, they think that, if they develop something really good, you know, it will be viral, which I don't believe in. Like that doesn't happen. Same issue with the developers. They want everything to be perfect, and every case should be, tested and verified and accounted for. This is not the way startups should approach things. It should be a really good MVP with the core functionality working well, the product to be usable. If it's not covering the 100%, you're never going to cover 100% of the needs of like every customer. So cover 90%, cover 70%, and like that's good enough. Don't.
I would say better 90, especially for analytics services, than 70, because 70, I believe like it's a little bit lower. No, I
um
mean in
it
terms of
it
in the terms of
the
the accuracy.
the variability of how advanced people are with the Google ads are, like, the variability is crazy. So some people barely even know what's going on, so they don't have conversions set up. Like you need to. That's why the LLMs, like when it does the audit, uh, it tries to force you to understand like why this matters, instead of, trying to go into the like keywords, etc. So the way that, we've set up the rules. But like for some, it is so advanced, like, or the setup is so advanced that maybe that's just, a nice tool for them, but like we're not gonna cover their needs anyways. So
Mhm.
I would
And
say, yeah.
another question I have is again about marketing. So you already mentioned that now it's more and more important to do the right marketing to gather the audience. I understand that for your specific mm, product, you're using some tips and tricks
Mhm.
which you wouldn't be open to share. But generally, like for people who are starting this, like, could you give some more or less general advices, especially like with ChatGPT App Store or others? So, okay, they have developed the product for 2 or 3 weeks and it's live and people are not coming. Like what should they account for? How should they approach this? Should they hire like an experienced marketing expert who will and invest like several $100,000 in traffic before they start earning, or like how they could put
Mhm.
their product on the
So
market?
the problem with marketing, first of all, I have a relatively good custom GPT that is currently number 3 in education in the GPT store, which is specifically called Business and Marketing AI. I get a lot of praise that it's an extremely good GPT. So some of the ideas and some of the fundamentals, like I actually generated and wrote down a bunch of stuff that I had in mind, like when advertising. But the problem is that there is no one template in marketing. This is the hardest field. You have to be unique. If you're doing everything the standard way, you're going to be, behind. So there
Mhm.
is, mm, for certain products, there is a way of, marketing, but you kind of have to find your place under the sun rather than um, count on, some templates. Marketing is not about templates, it's about how, like imagine you have several services doing the same thing relatively, with relatively equal success. There is no way you will outperform someone else doing the same exact thing as he does. So you have to play with pricing, you have to play with targeting, you have to play with the ad, etc. And you have to make it better so that you would make more than him. So to give you a quick answer, there is no template, unfortunately. I wish that
So it means if you're building a product, you need to understand like how to market it, or hire someone who understands it pretty well, because it will need like many experiments, and um, GPT Store alone wouldn't provide you enough traffic for so that you can start your business. So
yep.
that is incorrectly that it means that like if you're an industry expert, if you know who are the clients and to get them, then you're okay. But if you're like you think, oh, that's a cool thing, let's do it and see how it works, and don't really understand your target audience well, then you have a big problem in bringing this
I,
to market, and there are no easy ways to fix that.
no, the problem that I see a lot, like I communicate with a lot of people and they shared stories about their products. What you mentioned is like I will build a really great product and it will go viral. It won't, like unless you are doing something like ChatGPT or something crazy you know, like Suno or that generates the songs. Like unless you're doing something on the edge of the science and you have invested like in an insanely good team that has developed a product, you know, which will
To be
go in
honest,
the
if
articles.
let's be honest, like even the fact that ChatGPT went that viral, it wasn't by design just because they had a good product. Like they had good PR, I'm pretty sure, and they have very good experienced marketing experts in the team. It's just they build some unique mechanics in spreading their product early on, so
I
it
believe,
sounds like it seems
honestly,
like went viral, but I believe they put a lot of effort in that.
honestly, I do believe that it was the majority of it was more about the product rather than them being good at the PR. So um, I'm not going to say anything about the marketing team. But especially in the early days, I watched a lot of interviews with them. I don't think it's the marketing. I think it's the product. Because, like, remember the first impression when you logged in to ChatGPT and you could actually ask questions, it would actually give you like good, reasonable answers. That was the wow effect. Like that's why it went viral. No one cared. Like the product wasn't presented in some special way. Like, did you like see the ad of it? No, of course not. They probably use some of they're still OpenAI, like they're still important. Like they even during those days they were relatively good. Like they had those models, etc., which were used in like a bunch of pretty popular products. But this time they developed some on their own, and I believe what they needed is like a couple good press releases and demos, and that's it. I don't think there's anything else.
I remember I learned about them through social media. My friends were talking and showing like how it worked. Yes, they were amazed about the product, but they started from the tech community and impressed the tech community with the result and scared and
Yeah.
yeah, probably so yeah. Yeah, Max, I believe we need to wrap it up for today. Probably the last
Mhm.
question I would say is probably I haven't asked something really important, which you believe it will be useful to know for people who are listening to us with regards to the topic of building such small like products with small teams. So it's time. Feel free to share something.
Sure.
Uh,
I would say that the world is changing. The AI will impact us a lot. I so my forecast is not for a couple of years. It's like I'm trying to forecast things for like at maximum a year because things are changing really quickly. For now, the sweet spot is that if you do understand the marketing, you have some entrepreneurial, spirit, go ahead and try to do something. That's what I would recommend to your, followers and whoever is going to be seeing this. But for don't try to be perfect. Iterate and, do things fast, like as fast as possible. Even if it's junk, go to the market, test it, show it to people, show it to experts, or show it to people that might be interested in the product and say, hey, what is the like, what do you like? What do you not like about the product, etc. Don't try to make it perfect because like timing is everything right now. Once you develop like a perfect product, the market is gone. I feel like people with the understanding of the market as like, hey, we can spend like a couple of years developing the product, which was a norm, several years ago. Now you don't have that. You don't have those 2 years. You have only several months, and the market will be changing. So a lot of things that were built on top of some of the video generators, where are they? Like they were trying to sell the idea of you can generate the videos, but like now you have Sora, now you have the Gemini suggesting you to generate videos for free. Like I can generate videos for free because it came with the subscription came with my phone, like for free. So why would I pay for that service? And someone has, developed it. So the core idea is like go and iterate, try to figure out the marketing, and don't hope that it will go viral. It won't. Have some budget for the marketing, try to understand how it works. Uh, I'm not sure how to work with marketers. I'm a marketer myself. I'm trying to hire a marketer. I don't know how to hire them, seriously. Like I know how to hire developers, but like marketers are something very different. Because like if I'm a good marketer, why would I try to get hired? Like what's the point? Like how do you pay me? You have to pay me a percentage that so that I'm interested. Or the majority of the market is paying marketers for the hustle they're creating rather than the result. Like what's the point? No one's willing to pay the percentage they want to pay, just the paycheck, and expect you to hustle rather than get you results. So like the market is broken there. Um, get someone on the percentage rate. That's what I would say. Try to find someone, make him interested in dealing with it, or which is better, try to figure out marketing yourself. Go and try things. That's my advice.
Thanks, Max. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and thanks everyone for listening to this video. We hope that it will inspire you to launch your business and succeed. And if you do, please leave a comment and share your story. We will be happy to hear about your success. So
Yeah.
thanks everyone for joining. Have a
Thank you and good
good
luck.
day. Bye bye.
Bye.